Oh, I love it when I'm nasty.
You had the biggest, dumbest grin on your face the entire time we were watching that movie.
Every frame of Radigan is art. When Vincent Price is talking, whether he's trying to sound like a dignified gentleman or when he's just being the most hissy, angry thing in the world. And his expressions, the way he's animated, the way he carries himself, like the rage glittering in his eyes, like the way he's like snacking on his own evil. Oh, he's beautiful.
Remember that? I can't remember which scene it was. I think it was when he was talking to the toy maker, and the toy maker like starts insulting him, and he has this like watch out, and then he just goes like. But yeah, no, Radigan is what makes this movie go from, you know, it's kind of an okay kids movie to just delicious. You know, we are talking about the great
When he pulls out the bell!
when they're not singing, he just like goes, whoop.
Oh, it's so great.
Dun, dun, dun. And yeah, just...
Worse than the widows and orphans you drown. But yeah, there's a guy named Basil in this, I think. I think he's from Baker Street. I think he's trying to save Mrs. or like Mr. Flabbergaster, Yeah, that's what I said. Flabberrabber. And you've got Dawson, who fought in the Great Mouse War in Afghanistan, which... Does that mean every human conflict, there's also a mouse conflict? Probably. So is there like a Trojan cat during like the Trojan War?
I mean, look at American Tail, because you know we've got
that's true.
Jewish rats,
that's true.
Jewish mice migrating to America, or no, they're Russian.
Well, I think they're Russian and Jewish.
They're Russian Jewish mice fleeing. Was it World War I or World War II?
Don't remember.
I feel like it was World War I.
Probably.
Yeah, so they're fleeing Russia to go live in America, and there's a wild.
Because there's no cats in America.
Which is full of shit. But and then eventually they go out west to the Wild West, where there's a cat who is voiced by what is he voiced by? Cat R. Wall is his name. Have you never seen American Tail Final Goes West?
No, I have. I just don't remember. The part I remember from that is I remember the spider. The spider who has all of the, like, who's just cheating in cards. And he's like, I have 7 more winning hands. What do you want from me? I remember the dog sheriff, and I remember the Rawhide theme playing when Fievel is in the thing of rollin', rollin', roll. But why are we talking about an American Tail?
Yeah,
we gotta talk about the Great Mouse Detectives.
Who was
we have to
cat.
talk about
but anyways,
Radigan.
Yes, this is.
And I think there's other things in the movie, but
Vincent Price, I believe this was his final role, and because it's Vincent Price, he is so in love with his own voice because he knows everyone else is in love with his voice.
It's very true.
And Radigan is basically Vincent Price if he was a rat. Although I would assume...
Be very careful with the R word.
Oh. He's just a very big mouse.
Oh, Bartholomew, you've made me upset. And you know what happens when I get upset.
Oh my goodness. But Radigan is basically the Vincent Price persona of just this evil, cackling villain. Just in its purest distilled form. And it is wondrous to watch. This man has one of the most legendary voices in acting. And he makes this movie. Because without Vincent Price as Radigan, this movie would be like, oh,
it'd still be fine. I still would like it.
Fine. But he brings this movie up so much through the pure charisma. But there are other good things about the movie. You know, I like
Basil.
I like Basil. He seems cool.
I like the scene in the toy store. That's actually a lot of fun. Like, it's a fun action scene, with like creepy dolls.
Yeah.
Good.
And
You've got the scene in the bar.
Got the scene
Which
in the bar.
is because Disney's like really trying to make people into furries. Like, alright, we made Fox Robin Hood, we've had Ava Gabor voice a cute little mouse and a cat.
And now we have strippers.
Now we have cat burlesque dancing stripper.
Let me
be good to you.
It's like, wow. It's like I was watching it and I was just sitting there going, wow. That explains so much about like our generation, man.
But like this, okay, so I remember watching Dumbo and saying Dumbo is like the most movie of any movie because I really had nothing else to say about it. But at some point during this, I thought to myself, this is probably the most Disney movie out of any movie we've seen. Because it's got smoking, it's got drinking, it's got furry bait, it's got guns, it had a villain song, the villain died in this movie. Like, oh man, you got a dead mom. Like, this is the most, this is like the movie.
And it's got a villain song, it's...
I just
did
said
you bring that up? I'm sorry.
It was like one of the last points I brought up, Clay.
And I think because you had asked me like, is this the first villain song? But then
I think that was the first, and I don't remember if the Weasels had a song.
I don't think they did.
I think they did, but I could be remembering another version of Wind in the Willows that I've seen.
You could also argue that they aren't the antagonists of Wind in the Willows. Mr. Toad is his own worst enemy.
I mean, yeah, but they have to fight the Weasels because they took over Toad Hall.
Yeah, but this is the first real Disney villain song, and it's
so funny,
and it's so out of place too because there's only one other musical number in this movie, and it actually,
there really are only
two. Makes sense for that to be a musical number because it's a fucking dancing scene, in a bar, entertainment. But no, it's just him. He's so
in love with himself.
And he's getting his droogs to sing along with him under threat of cat, and.
I just love that Basil has this picture of Ratigan just on his mantle.
Professor Ratigan.
And then the picture smile.
It didn't just smile, it also was like embossed or something because there was clear like when the light hit it, it was glowing around the character. And so... And Ratigan's got like a little fucking doll.
Voodoo doll. And then he recorded a whole musical like a goodbye so soon.
I
just love it.
Oh, I love it.
I love it when I'm nasty.
It's so perfect, man. It's such a good movie. It's one of those movies that I watched a lot growing up as a kid, and so it is a movie that I hold near and dear to my heart. In fact, I remember quite a few years back when I was still in college, you had told me you hadn't seen it.
Yes.
And so we made it a point to sit down and watch it. And if I remember correctly...
And I think I had the exact same reaction that I am now. This is only my second time seeing this movie. Like, this is so great.
Yeah. It's got a great climax. It's got good pacing.
Okay, so yeah, as we were watching the climax, which is like their Ratigan's whole plan is I'm going to kidnap the queen, make a robot queen, and I will be the second in command to the robot queen, which means I'm the actual person in charge. Then, Basil foils his plans.
Curses.
So he escapes to Big Ben. And they're fighting in, like, the gears of the clock tower. And as I was looking at that, I was like, this looks like it would be a Kingdom Hearts fight. I know we, like, kind of brought that up a little bit with the Horned King. Like, this is something I would love to see in Kingdom Hearts. But I just saw it in my head of, like, Sora, doing his, like, weird little animation thing in Kingdom Hearts 2. Ratigan on the other side. And the gears, and you got the thing on the top saying, like, defeat Ratigan before time runs out. Like, I just saw the whole Kingdom Hearts 2, like, UI in my head. And it worked so perfectly. Especially be like, alright, so Basil does this thing, like, he saves Olivia, they're going up, and then Sora, Donald, and Goofy have to fight Ratigan. Ratigan beats the shit out of Basil.
Going fucking
ham. He's like, alright, you want me to be a rat? I'll be a rat.
Yeah, he's screwing him up, man. He's fucking him up. But yeah, Great movie, A tier.
We haven't even brought up Fidget, the Gurgi in this movie. Like, okay, I've got a crippled wing.
So official Gurgi count 1.
Yes. And so you don't like Gurgi. Do you like Fidget? Because I thought Fidget's great.
I think he is. I think he's good because he feels a bit more effective as a villain. Because yeah, he does. He does that opening scene, which is actually really scary when you think about it. It's like, yeah, this kid hears her dad getting beaten and dragged out of their home, and when she opens it up on her birthday, when she like opens up the cabinet, like the house is in shambles, like their shop's in shambles. It's like, that's really creepy. And then like you get some stuff later on where it's like, you know, he's in the fucking like baby's crib, or it's like, yeah, he doesn't feel as annoying. Like his voice is not as annoying. At least to me, and that might be more of a personal taste kind of thing. It's like, for me, Gurgi grates me.
No, not Gurgi.
Shut up.
Munchies and Crunch. Ohana meets family.
Yeah, like, this one's fine. He feels a lot more effective. He's not some comic relief. He's actually part of the plot.
Yeah.
So Gurgi count 1. And then next is Oliver and Company.
Next is Oliver and Company.
Yeah. So where would you rank this movie?
I'm like, I want to put it in S tier just because of Ratigan. I can't. I feel like this is a very... It's like Sleeping Beauty, and how like this is a most like strong A plus.
It's not quite classic territory.
Can't quite put it in S as much as I want to, but I feel like those two movies are like the gatekeeper of S tier. It's like, you have to be better than these two, and those two are even then like so close. Ratigan is an S tier villain. Like, both of those movies have S tier villains.
Yeah, so I would agree. Highest A tier I can give it. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
So then we have one more movie in the Bronze era,
Renaissance.
Which, despite it being the Bronze era, I feel like the quality is not that different. I mean, maybe in like the animation, but even then, it's not like the animation.
It's not the wartime movies. That's for fucking certain.
But you've had an S tier in this. I have not, and I don't think Oliver and Company is an S tier. I love that movie. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think it'll get elevated to S tier. So I think for me, this will be the second era, aside from the wartime era, with no S tier films. Mm-hmm. But that hasn't had any F tier movies, and again, I like Oliver and Company, so
it's probably
barring something insane that I've never noticed in the movie, like, wait, this movie's actually garbage, it will have had no F tiers.
Well, the thing is, the movie can't be garbage because it does have the Billy Joel song in it.
Yeah.
So it could not possibly be an F tier movie.
Well, yeah.
An F tier movie would be like
Sword in the Stone.
Yeah. There's no reason to watch it. And I feel actively dumber for having watched it.
Oh, okay, it's a little harsh.
And
it's not that bad.
Yes, it is.
Three Caballeros is that bad.
Yes, it is.
But anyway, I don't understand how Sword in the Stone is worse than Three Caballeros.
Because Three Caballeros is mindless droll, but Sword in the Stone actively insults my intelligence.
Man, we spent a lot of time talking about other movies in this Creep House to talk about.
Because basically the only thing to talk about is this movie is Ratigan, and that's basically it. I mean, there's good stuff.
There is good stuff, but
it's like, without Ratigan, this movie would be just okay. But yeah, so one more movie, and then we're on the Renaissance. And oddly enough, we're not even halfway through the movies yet.
Yeah, but what is the halfway point? Wait,
well, if it's 59...
Yeah.
If it's 59, then...
But I mean, 60 comes out in a couple weeks, so...
That would be number 29. That would be, so the 30th
basically
movie...
number 30. What is number 30? Is that, like, Aladdin?
It might be. Let me check real quick. Okay. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24...
6.
We are on number 26.
Okay.
Oliver and Company's 27, 28, 29, 30.
Beauty and the Beast is 30. Okay.
So Beauty and the Beast is the halfway point, which is weird because we've already watched so many movies. I thought a good chunk of the movies were in like the pre-90s era, but no, we have a good chunk of the movies is just the 2000s. Which I guess makes sense because like the Bronze Era, they were only releasing a movie every like 5 years or so, and that's why there is a massive gap between like the Walt Disney era and the Renaissance. Because during this time, they spent most of their production on live action stuff,
like Candleshoe.
Yes, like Candleshoe. But yeah, so the Renaissance and then kind of like the post-Renaissance era, which ironically has movies that are better than some of the Renaissance movies. Like
Emperor's New Groove, Lilo and Stitch.
Treasure Planet. Not quite with Atlantis, though I feel like I would like Atlantis more than some of the Renaissance movies. But then we've got the dumbass stuff like Chicken Little and Home on the Range.
The double feature! We're doing a double feature.
We have to.
We have to.
We may not survive.
Dude, we survived. Oh, technically, we didn't double feature Brave and the Good. Oh, yeah, because those two aren't even back to back.
Yeah, they're not. But then, yeah, so after the dumbass shit, we've got Tangled, and it's basically smooth sailing from there. So are there any movies coming up that you haven't seen yet? Because the only movie...
Frozen, the new Winnie the Pooh, Frozen 2, Wreck-It Ralph 2. I think that's the only 3 I have yet to see. Okay. And, the thing that hasn't come out yet.
For me, it's those same 3, but also Oliver and Company.
Because you've seen the BC.
I have seen the BC now. Yeah, that's fine. But yeah, so we're getting there. We're almost to the halfway point.
What I would like to do when we get to the halfway point is to kind of do a retrospective. To actually see, like, all right, what have the rankings been, and is there any ranking that you have now changed? Like, if there's a movie that now that you kind of thought about it, now that your tiers are a little more defined, that you think, this one I think should go up, this one I think should go down. Because I know I at least have a couple in each of those.
Yeah, that would be a good idea.
Okay, so we'll do that when we get to there, but until then,